When it was announced that this film called Vaxxed would be screened at the festival. Later, the festival pulled it. Was it because of the backlash? Were you surprised that people reacted the way that they did?
I was shooting a movie. I was in the middle of a lot of stuff. I think the movie is something that people should see. There was a backlash which I haven't fully explored, and I will. And I didn't want it to start affecting the festival in ways that I couldn't see.
So basically, Robert De Niro, about 9 years ago, got canceled for this film where he talks about vaccines. Now, this is important because PBD and Tucker Carlson go off on a podcast, but this is the background context that isn't in their clip.
But definitely there's something to that movie, and there's another movie called Trace Amounts. And there's a lot of information about things that are happening with the CDC, the pharmaceutical companies. There's a lot of things that are not said. I, as a parent of a child who has autism, I'm concerned, and I want...
Oh, shit. This is crazy. Okay, so Robert De Niro right here was catching on to things. This is in 2016, before the whole COVID and vaccinations and everything, 4 years before that, and he's going off. Now, this is why this is applicable, because of this video right here.
About it, and the host is trying to shut him up. He's, you guys got to see this documentary. And he's not one that uses his kids as a, we know where he's at with Trump. We know he's got TDS. Yeah. We know he loses his mind. But when it comes down to vaccine and autism, that is a very personal thing to him.
But can you imagine not being allowed to ask?
Robert De Niro, when he's at a film festival and a documentary was coming out about vaccine by, I think, Del Bigtree, and he's talking about the documentary because he's got an autistic son. I think he's like 22 or 23 years old. That's one area where he's like, we have to look into this. What's going on with this? And he's kept it kind of to, at the time, the kid was 16 years old. But I think there's some moments, and they try to hide it as much as possible. So Robert De Niro
suggested there's a link between vaccines and autism?
You've never seen this interview?
No.
I have to show it to you afterwards, okay? So he's talking about it, and the host is trying to shut him up. He's, you guys got to see this documentary. And he's not one that uses his kids as a, we know where he's at with Trump. We know he's got TDS. Yeah. We know he loses his mind. But when it comes down to vaccine and autism, that is a very personal thing to him.
But can you imagine not being allowed to ask?
Yeah, that's a problem.
I mean, I don't know if that's true or not. There's some evidence that it is true. And we do know that they took the additive out of the vaccine. But it, of course, had nothing to do with autism. But like, in what world can't you ask that question or demand like a straightforward answer? They're forced.
In the world of YouTube. In the world of YouTube and mass industrialization. So by the way, YouTube, I am not saying that what they're saying is true.
Our kids to take this stuff.
Things have gotten so out of control on childhood vaccines and autism. World Council for Health is saying parents are urged to adopt a common sense, safer to wait approach. What does that mean? That means deferring on the childhood schedule. 5 studies now show, in the modern day, 5 studies show children who take no vaccines, none. They're born healthy, they take no vaccines. They're healthier than the kids who take the vaccines. There's lower rates of food allergies, peanut allergies. That's all coming from the peanut excipients in vaccines. There's lower rates of asthma, allergic dermatitis, need for tympanostomy tubes. Lower rates of attention deficit disorder.
Once again, do your own research, but for the record, I am not vaccinated. My mom didn't vaccinate me with anything, and I made it perfectly okay. So I find that fascinating that this is so common and so necessary. Anyways, let's get back to this one.
I want to know the truth, and I'm not anti-vaccine. I want safe vaccines. When you get, some people can't get a certain type of shot, and they can die from it. You know, even penicillin. So why should that not be with vaccine, which it isn't?
So you said
all.
you went public for the first time saying that your 18-year-old son does have autism.
Yes.
That had been a very private thing for you, and
Yes.
part of the reason you wanted this film shown was to start that conversation.
Absolutely.
Do you believe you'll now have a role in that conversation going forward?
Possibly, yes. Because the thing is that to shut it down, there's no reason to. If you're scientists, let's see, let's hear. Everybody doesn't seem to want to hear much about it. It's shut down. And you guys are the ones that should be the investigating. Do the investigating.
Oh shit, man! What happened to this Robert De Niro? What happened to him?
I think the film was controversial because people felt that the filmmaker had been discredited.
Even he, I'm not so sure about. At the end of the day, even him.
Jane,
Well, the one thing, it wasn't. There weren't sponsors or donors that were threatening to pull out of the film festival. It was our filmmakers, and we're known for having amazing documentary films. You can take a look at our lineup, whether it's what we're starting with tonight or some other documentaries that are, equally controversial that we have at the festival. So it was our filmmakers that were pulling out. There's another amazing film
I find that
about
amazing, and we're going to talk about that.
But there's another amazing film that was done by Roger Ross Williams that won the Audience Award at Sundance called Life Animated about autism, and it's a really beautiful film about the Susskind family. And
It's a beautiful film, but it's another thing. It's the result of. It's not questioning how some people got autism, how the vaccines are dangerous, if not dangerous to certain people who are more susceptible. And nobody seems to want to address that, or they say they've addressed it, and it's a closed issue, but it doesn't seem to be, because there are many people who will come out and say, no, I saw my kid change like overnight. I saw what happened, and I should have done something, and I didn't. So there's more to this than meets the eye, believe me.
Is that the experience you had, Robert? Something changed overnight?
My wife says that. I don't remember, but my child is autistic, and every kid is different. But there is something there. There's something
to be said about him changing overnight and having a different stance on this as well. Isn't this fascinating? Like, what happened? Who called him? Said this is unacceptable. You can't do this. Because this stuff just is so rare in Hollywood. And also, too, it's rare that I've never seen this before, when this clearly seems like something that should have been shown a while ago, especially during 2020, 2021, 2022, during the height of the COVID and the vaccines.
Something there that people aren't addressing. And for me to get so upset here today, on the Today Show with you guys, means there's something there. That's all I wanted, was the movie to be seen. People can make their own judgment, but you must see it. And there are other films, other things that also just document and show. It's not such a simple thing.
do you regret pulling it now in some sense?
Part of me does, and part of me says, let it go for now. And I'll deal with it later in another way. But because I didn't want the festival to be affected in a way, because it was like a knee-jerk reaction, and especially from the filmmakers, frankly, that I
The other filmmakers who were in the festival.
Man, so that's fire. I'm glad that PBD has the recollection for things like this, because I feel like it is important to be able to pull these things up and really show the people, hey, this is what happened with Robert De Niro. Have you ever seen this video or this clip from a while ago? I mean, this is almost a decade ago now. And what happened? Like Robert De Niro once felt pretty strongly about this, and we can honestly be able to blow this back up, show him, see what's going on. Like, interviewers right now, the press is starting with the Trump administration to really start to get deep, and we need to start holding people accountable for their stances, whether it was woke or not. What do you guys think? Let me know in the comments down below. I'll see you in the next one. Please like and subscribe. See ya.